Good morning, students from productions in the Propedeutic year. Welcome to your first clip about teamwork. And here I am with, please introduce yourself.
Good morning, good morning. My name is Roland Kleve. I'm the Dean of the Academy for Leisure and Events.
So he's very important. And what kind of experience do you have with working in teams? What kind of companies did you work for?
Well, actually, I've always been working in teams. So the experience started from being a student to my professional career. It always has been working in teams. In the wide sense, and whether it was at Disney, where it's not about a one-man show, but it's about being productive as a group of people and taking the best elements out of individuals to achieve the highest possible. And whether that is in Bobbejaanland or at the Formula One circuit in Zandvoort or stage entertainment, it's all about working in teams. And it's so vague when you say, yeah, I'm a team player. But I am. I think when you want to achieve something as an individualist, you're all by yourself. And I like to do things together. I like to do things. I'm a social guy, so working with people around you and working in team spirit and getting the best out of the team is something I love to do, and I've been doing that all my life. So including today at Bureaus, working in teams is vital.
Very nice. And our students need to work in project teams together for productions. Do you know what the difference is, or can you tell something about the difference between a team and a project team?
A difference between a team and a project team. I think a project team has an advantage because it has a due date, because the project will be over sooner or later. And working in a team, it is more long term. It's more about in a longer time frame, working on lessons learned, evolving, doing things over and over again, but growing because of the lessons that you learn. I think working in a team is more for a longer run. On a project team, it starts today, it's finished next week, or it starts today and it has a project time schedule of a couple of months. So it is limited, and that has an advantage, because if you have a tough team, you know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. That's good. But it has a disadvantage as well, because working in teams on the long run, you are able to give feedback. You are able to learn from your fellow team members and grow, not only as an individual, but also as a team. I think maybe from my perspective that are the differences. Did I miss anything?
No, I think you can have a team like a soccer team or something
Yeah.
like that. That's a team as well. And I think you nailed it there. That the team is for a longer period. For example, you can have the department of merchandise. That's going to be a team for a couple of years. But you can have a project within the merchandise department, for example, to tackle a problem. Like if you have a logistic problem, and then you can combine different elements of different team members from different departments to work in a project team together.
Yeah.
So most of the times you have different team members for different departments, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's the difference also, and with the end date and the goal, is most of the time it's like project team can vary between. What did you experience?
Yeah, a couple of weeks to a year. I did run a project team for a little bit over a year, even at Disney. Maybe I'll tell you a little bit later all about this, but that was maybe one of the most brilliant experience I had, and that was a duration of 1 year.
Yeah.
But you know, it varies.
Yeah, if
Look
you
at
have
your
to,
project,
yeah.
it's limited as well in time.
Yeah, and if you have to build a roller coaster, it's going to take like 1 or 2 years at least to
Yeah,
build a roller
depending
coaster.
on the size and if
Yeah.
it's off the shelf. But if like a Disney project, a roller coaster is 48 months. You
Yeah.
know, it's amazing. It's 4 years from creating, designing to turning the key and running it with guests.
Long-term project with
Yeah.
a lot of people, imagine.
Yeah, yeah. But, running a Disney attraction on a project team is is so huge because you have a ride mechanical, you have show lights, you have theming, you have safety, you have all
Yes.
different kind of project teams, and then you have an overall project team where the key I would say stars of different project teams are represented. So you always have an overview. So there's within a project you have different projects and. Yeah, and again, opening a new ride in a company as Disney is something completely different as opening a ride in a small scaled theme park like Bobbejaanland because they're your project team because you have so many less employees is restricted and limited. So it's different.
And do you have like a really good example of a good teamwork? I think you mentioned it before. You had something with Disney.
Well, let me start with an example of really bad teamwork.
Oh, really bad. Okay.
And
We start with really bad. Pay attention.
This is because it resulted in the project I was referring previously, and I this is I'm generalizing right now, but opening in 1991 for Disney, you must see it as like an invasion of Americans coming to Europe, more specifically coming to France, and telling everybody in how to open a Disney park. And which I understand because there are parks up and running. Uh, and if you want to control copy paste it in France, then you need to learn from the specialists, right? But it's funny because as even the Walt Disney Company, they had assumptions in how to run a theme park in Europe. And one of the assumptions is, oh, well, in the United States there is no alcohol in the park. So in France, no alcohol in the restaurants. And but you explain a French person that he goes to a table-seated restaurant where you can have all the nice food in auberge de Cendrillon without wine.
That's not possible for a
Absolutely
Frenchman.
not. No. So you learn, and so there were a lot of examples that you need to mirror. You think global as a company, but act local in is it applicable into the culture or into a country? And so you learn a lot, but it's not all the American way. And so there comes a time where you are told in how to do things, where you sit as a European or a French and say, this doesn't work. And so the answers to the questions, the Americans said, okay, you need to do this and this, and the answer was, okay, we will do this. And as soon as they left,
Nobody did it.
nobody did it because it isn't common sense. You know, in the United States, you had popcorn, salt, and sweet. And so the balance of popcorn carts in the park was 50-50. But nobody in Europe was used, customized to salted popcorn. So and so they said, yeah, but you shouldn't put salt because it doesn't work. Yeah, it works. Everybody eats salted popcorn. Not in Europe, it didn't. And so there's so many examples. One of the most important examples was queue line calculation. I had the opportunity to go winter sport in Europe and winter sport in the United States. And so if you go to the slopes in the United States, the distance between one or the other is like this. But the distance is between the skis. So you calculate a long distance. If you go to Austria on the slopes, the distance is this as well, but not between the skis, but between the buddies.
Okay.
So that means that in a queue line in Europe, there is so much more density. And if you do a queue line wait time calculation, uh, where in the United States the calculation is this is about an hour, and that's acceptable for an attraction. You go into an attraction with an hour queue line.
You need to build the attention as well.
Yeah. And so that same attraction with that same square footage of square meters wasn't an hour but 3.5 hours, because there were so many more people fit. Well, all those elements, they say, yeah, but it doesn't work in Europe. Yeah, it will work. So as a result, there was not always a good team. We're talking about teamwork, because it was more imposed. This is what you should do because this is what it always has been.
So what happened?
And so, as a result, productivity and efficiency was really poor. Also conflicts on understanding, not in the words you say, but the interpretation of the words that they hear or they communicate. So what happened after a couple of years, we created a new team. And this is the project I was talking about, which I was responsible for, because we identified 8 critical areas within the resort that where we were not able to solve the issue. One of the examples was the check-in in front office, where you did a check-in, you came as a family to the front office, and what we did, we gave you this thick pile of information because this is all what you need to know. As a result, because it was so big, you did not have any information. And so, and we couldn't solve it. The check-in time was way too long, and the guest satisfaction of hotel check-in was really poor. And we couldn't solve it. Because it should be like this. Well, it's different in Europe.
Yeah, so the Americans said you have to do it this way, and so. Yeah.
So what we did of those 8 different, I would say, major challenges, one in hotels, one in park support cleaning, one in attractions, one in merchandise, one in costuming. I'll give you the costuming example. Was that you are the vice president of costuming, and your number 2. So really, if you go on holiday, you delegate it to your number 2.
Yes.
Your most trustworthy person in your division of costuming. You had to give that person up to me for 1 year, where this person was matched with an American counterpart, a specialist in costuming as well. And so they were looking at the challenge in your costuming department and how can we improve distribution? How can we go to self-service? How can we go to a scanning system of your costume where you put in your dirty, I would say, pants of Frontierland as a cowboy, and you get yourself a new pair of jeans that you don't need a counter for anymore. And we couldn't solve it, we didn't know what system, everybody was talking about, we have the best system. So what we did, we brought those 2 together. And they analyzed the job in Paris. What are the challenges? How come it doesn't work? What are you facing? Is it a language issue? Is it a culture issue? Whatever. So you went in deep with the 2 people. And you, as a vice president of costuming, you were pretty confident because your number 2 is dealing with your best interest. And now your number 2 with the American counterpart is going to Orlando, going to California, going to Hong Kong, and is going to every single costuming division and department and is mirroring your problem, your challenge, in how do they deal with this in other locations. And this is where the funny bit came. They went to California first. And they went to the vice president of costuming and he said, listen, we have a great system. It's the best system. And by the way, California is where it all started. Don't go to Orlando. It's just a big Disney. But this is the best system. Then they went to Orlando. They found out it's a completely different system. There's no interface. And the system is telling you what you need in supply for costuming. How many pair of jeans, how many white blouses, how many trousers of Peter Pan or Pirates of the Caribbean. So it's a very detailed system, but because he cannot communicate, there was no central procurement for the costuming division. So they looked at the system there, a different system, the system there, different system. Then they went to Hong Kong, different system. And so they did an analysis of all the systems. They looked at their recommendation, what they would do, and for a simple reason, one system had the best options plus multiple languages.
Very
Where
important in Europe.
in Europe
Yeah.
you could work in French and in English and in other languages. So they control copy paste the system of Orlando. But as a result, for the Walt Disney Company, California, Hong Kong, and Japan had to adapt their system because now the Walt Disney Company created one costuming system. So you could push one button and do central procurement for the entire Walt Disney Company. And
so that saves a lot of money as well and
yeah,
time.
yeah. So this is what the project was all about. 8 different divisions, 8 different challenges. But the reason it worked is because of the team. And the way the team was built. You had confidence because 50% of the team that was analyzing your problem was your trustee.
Mm-hmm.
The other 50% is a specialist, but they created for almost a year a team spirit. They went to the same hotel. They had dinner all the time. They got to know their families because a year working together on this issue, you really create excellent team spirit on that part. And so when they did the analysis in the different resorts and they came back to France presenting you their recommendation, you had 50% buy-in. And you had absolutely full confidence that what they recommended would be the best for your division as well. And things happened. And you saw that in all the different lines of business where we, those 8, I would say, projects, where acceptance was all of a sudden was there because we listened to each other. We challenged the systems, also the American systems. So it wasn't, you need to do this. And that was extremely effective. It saved a lot of money, not only on the short term, but also on the mid and long term because of the coordination, cooperation between the different units of the Walt Disney Company. And it was fun. So that's working on team spirit. And I remember in the beginning you had to do so much extra effort in order to get the people together. So you had a barbecue in the beginning and you need to learn each other and you go have a drink and really build on trust and you can excel as a team very strongly. So that was a challenge that didn't work for a long time in Disneyland Paris and resulted in operating differently with different teams where all of a sudden things opened up and things were accepted and accomplished and executed.
So what elements do you think are very important? I hear you say trust, and how do you build trust?
Yeah, well, trust is something that is vital, and how you build it. Well, we really brought talent together. So if you are going to introduce talent to each other and you explain what they all have been doing so far, slowly that trust. Oh shoot, that is interesting. Oh that's interesting for us. So you need to be aware that working together is not. You need to invest. You need to listen. And communication is important because the language issue was still there. We had French and American, and sometimes they really didn't understand. And even the translation wasn't enough. It's the interpretation of the words that was explaining what the other really meant to say. Uh, yeah, and I think empathy towards each other, understanding that there are cultural differences, that you don't come in and say, but this is always how it works and it will work there as well. Oh yeah, well, challenge it.
And mutual respect I
Yeah.
hear as well,
Yeah.
like the importance of the expertise of the different team members.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what else? What elements are
Well,
also very important, do you think, in working together in a team? Talents, I hear you say talent.
I think the Dutch word is aanspreekgedrag.
Accountability?
It's more than that. Is if you and I say we believe at the academy that wearing black shoes is something that we would stand for. It's funny, it actually is an issue because in the costuming department there is this agreement that you wear black shoes because they are neutral and you can fit them underneath all clothing.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's what you agree, because it's not because what you like or what I like, it's what we stand for as a company. And all of a sudden, you come with white shoes. You have new Adidas sneakers, looks
very fancy,
very nice,
very cool,
and they're really nice. And aanspreekgedrag is that when I mention to you, hey, listen, you shouldn't wear white shoes. The Adidas are lovely because we had an agreement, and it has nothing to do with the relation between you and me, that I dislike you or that I don't respect you. It has to do with something that we mutually agreed, and you missed it. You forgot it because you saw the shoes in the morning. Oh, I'm going to put on the shoes, and I didn't think about the black shoes. But aanspreekgedrag is that you approach and are able to approach each other for the better, because you come out stronger together if you approach people on their behavior or on things they say they do and they don't. I will be there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and you sit and wait at 9:15, 9:30, and then at 9:30 you walk in, and then aanspreken, hey, I thought it was 9 o'clock, and I've been waiting here for half an hour. And it's nothing because I dislike you, but that's something that you should talk about and say, let's respect each other. This is what we agree. You don't do this. Let's change it.
So as a team, you work on a common goal. You have a common vision for the client or for the end result, and for that you need some team agreement and really good feedback behavior, rules and feedback behavior.
Say what you do what you say, and if you don't, talk about it.
Take responsibility.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah. Another thing what I really like in team is that you celebrate. And even at Disney, we did not celebrate enough. We celebrate a lot. But celebrate does stimulate proud, awareness that it's not vanzelfsprekend, it's not obvious. If you accomplish things, you need to celebrate and be aware that what you said you were doing, even if it is very challenging and you accomplish it, hey,
we did it.
We did it.
Yes,
we
celebrate.
It. And that's good. And we even getting towards an opening or getting towards the end of a project. If you finish the end of the project, cake.
So set some milestones and celebrate if you achieve them.
And be aware of that it's not, don't take things for granted. And if you accomplish things, enjoy it. It's work hard, enjoy hard as well.
And can you also say something about team roles? Because you have different team members.
Yeah.
And team talents.
Yeah, you have Jiminy Cricket. Yeah, I'm comparing it to Disney. Sorry about that. You have the Jiminy Cricket, which is your conscious.
Mm-hmm.
The one who is not labeled as being negative,
Mm-hmm.
but the one who is labeled to always ask critical questions, which can be very helpful. It's like, is this really the right thing we do? Shouldn't we wait a little bit? Doing just challenging the team. You have the motivator. You have the one who's celebrating all the time, or impulsing the celebration. You have the leader. You have different type of roles. There's a lot of
Complete finisher, maybe.
yeah, but there's a lot of theoretical frameworks of different roles within a team, and that is important because if you have different roles, you can capitalize on different talents within team members. And not everybody has always a lot of energy. And so if you have one with a lot of energy and sometimes you need a boost, let him take the boost and use that. You have the Scrooge, which is
For the money,
for
I
the
think.
money. The money who's looking. Okay, how much is it? Should we spend that money? Is it worthwhile? Can we save it? And then if you accept that as a team, you're not always addressing Scrooge as come on, but you understand and realize that there's always a financial guy who thinks about, is it the right thing? Are we spending the money wisely? Should we wait? Should we accelerate? All that kind of stuff.
So different roles, diversity in a team is very important.
Very important.
For the
Yeah.
end result to have
Yeah.
to celebrate the big
Yeah.
achievement.
Yeah, and you see that you have, if the team is small, you have multiple heads that you wear as a team player. In Disney, you saw that the teams are huge, and that you have a specialist. Maybe I explained this before, but you have not only a specialist on lighting within an attraction, but you have a specialist in lighting when it concerns to handicapped access. Signage with lighting indicating in an evacuation which route you need to go. You have lighting like show light. So when animation of Pirates of the Caribbean starts, that the candle light is correctly flickering. You have all different kinds of responsibilities, and because the teams are so great, you have for every single team you have that
You have a lot of
responsibility.
expert
In a
teams.
small team in Bobbejaanland, there was absolutely not a specialist on lighting. We had a maintenance specialist.
Who needs to know everything.
He needed to know everything on the capacity storage of vehicles when doing maintenance, the number of wheels, including the lighting, including the painting. He was the jack of all trades. And so depending on the size of the project and the number of team members, you divide tasks.
And you said you were a leader as well, or manager. And what is the role of leadership in teams or for teams in an organization?
I would say an enabler, or an inspirateur. Projects are not always easy, and so you need to give energy, enthusiasm, where your project team uh, is is always finding the energy regardless the complexity. Uh, so I would say a leader is jack of all trades, because it's great in a small project team as a leader to just go with the boots in the dirt and help with the project,
Mm-hmm.
and not only be the leader and stand on the side being the leader, but being the leader in the field. So it's very complex. But I would say overall, checking out, is the project going well? Are the team members, each one of them, taking their responsibilities? Maybe somebody needs to be cheered up, or a kick in the butt.
Happens but
as
also
well. Yeah, you know, and if you are as a leader in your role within a project group, that people realize that you do this not on an individual base to kick somebody's butt, but you do that because you want the team to work really as a team, and not that there's 2 or 3 people working in the team and to sit back and enjoy the ride.
so everybody needs to be involved. And
Yeah.
as a leader, you are an inspirator and a motivator to do that as well.
Yeah.
An enabler from time and resources,
Yeah.
that they can do that job really well.
Good summary. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
And if you, because I think we are half an hour already, if you can
Sorry.
can describe teamwork in one sentence, what would you say? To round up.
In one sentence, teamwork is fun because you're not by yourself. It is. I like to work not on stuff or on things, but I like to work with people. And so if you work hard and you play hard, working in a team is I really enjoy it. But it's not always easy. I have one example in a team that happened to me last year, working on a project. And you had a team responsibility, that's writing a report, and you had an individual responsibility, that's an element within the report. So every team member had to write an individual bit that counted for points as well, and you had the overall report. And you saw that by dividing the tasks, that you see within the team where there is energy and where there is spirit and who's sharp, and you figured it out very fast. And so on an individual basis, I saw that there was, by 2 people within the team, which were really excellent students, less attention to the individual bit, which they are rated. But because they were looking at teamwork, they did the overall report of the team. And those were excellent reports. So they completely worked for the team, less attention for themselves. As a result, when you look at the overall points, those that spent more time on the individual bit had higher rates because their individual was higher and they had a very high group report than the 2 that did the load of the team. And so afterwards I sat down, because this is reality. This is what happens when you are out there working. That as a team, you need to look at not only as a group, but also as an individual, but you need to approach each other. You need to say to the team, hey, listen, I spend a lot of time on the report, but as a result, my individual is really low. So come on, put in your weight. And what I like, and this is not the one phrase that you ask about, what I like about working in a team, that when you are open, transparent and respectful to each other, you have the best operating team possible. Because everything is open and everybody, there's no hidden agendas, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah, so it creates energy if everyone is involved, and then you can celebrate at the end.
Yeah.
I think that is very nice.
Yeah.
Do you have something more to add for the final quote?
No, I would say enjoy working as a team, because it is so much a learning curve, a learning process where you go into that is applicable once you finish your education, because life and life after your education is always working in small projects, whether it's in your company or whether it's preparing a Christmas party at home. Everything is related to working together with people, and so learn from it. Dive into your theoretical framework, how teams work, what the roles are, what's your strength, and capitalize on it, be aware of it, and make the best out of it, and really enjoy it.
So thank you so much, Roland, for this interviews, and good luck everyone with working together, and I hope you gain some insights about how to work as a team. I see you next week. Bye bye.